screaming heavy metal! We rock!
But the evil that men do lives on.
We gonna bang your head!
You are now listening to the Music Mania podcast, a hard-hitting show featuring all things hard rock and heavy metal. And now here are your hosts, the Twins of Chaos, Clint Switzer and Paul Lagana.
Fresh off of a bombastic and unprecedented 4th of July weekend, Paul, here we are, the Music Mania podcast, bringing you a show after all the decadence and the partying that went on for the 4th of July, as we always engage in as Americans. Here we are bringing you a very big show, and we've got John Corabi joining us on this show, man. He's got a lot to talk about. There's been a lot going on with the Motley Crue stuff. Nikki kind of slinging some mud John's way. John's always such a non-controversial guy. He gets kind of wrapped up in this, and I don't know, he'd made a post on his Facebook like he doesn't really want to talk about it. We'll see what he has to say here about Motley Crue, man, because it's been some mudslinging going on.
Yeah. Well, again, you know, the self-titled album Motley Crue came out in '94. He was a part of that, obviously, and I thought it was pretty good. It was pretty hard-hitting. It was something that Motley Crue, obviously they were always hard-hitting, but it was a little bit different. So I'm not sure exactly where Nikki's coming from. I liked it.
Yeah, but I think maybe Nikki says that as a lot of Motley fans try to distance themselves from that, you know, because it's not Vince Neil. And maybe in hindsight, they should have called the project something different because it was such a different sound. But I thought John Corabi, and he's just been a great musician. I mean, he's played with Rat, The Scream, Bride to Destruction. I mean, now his band Dead Daisies going out on tour with Kiss this summer. We're going to ask him about their new album, Make Some Noise, which comes out August 5th. It's a great album. We just got a forwarded copy of that album, digital copy, man. We've been listening to that. It's awesome. It's very bluesy, very crunchy. It is a really good, solid rock album, and the Dead Daisies are firing on all cylinders with band members like Marco Mendoza, Brian Tichy from Billy Idol, and Doug Aldrich. Just a great band, great sound. John Corabi always just
Absolutely.
sort of in the middle of these great projects.
Yeah, John, he's worked with some very accomplished musicians over the years, and if you guys get out and get this Dead Daisies, Make Some Noise,
Yeah,
I believe is the
August 5th, it comes out.
Right, and they're actually going to be joining the Kiss tour later on in August.
And we're going to miss them because we're seeing Kiss July 20th, and some American Idol singer guy as the opener. I'm not kidding. And the Dead Daisies joined like the next week.
Well,
and
that's breaking news to me because I had no idea who was actually opening. But
well, it's not the Dead Daisies, so
right.
I'm sorry.
We're not going to see them anyway. So
Very good point, but I would love to see the Daisies. Hopefully they get a headlining tour coming up later in the year with their album coming out and everything.
Right.
But, you know, I've always respected John as a musician, seen him when he was played guitar for Rat, the Jizzy Pearl fronted Rat, which is kind of crazy to think about that. The Jizzy Pearl was the singer in Rat for a few years, and but John was a part of that. He's just kind of done it all. He's been around Brides of Destruction. He was in not one but two bands with Nikki Sixx, and so Nikki kind of talking about him a little bit. I think it's unwarranted. Talking smack. This is a uncensored show here. I could have went somewhere else with that.
Talking shit, maybe? Can we say that?
Well, John he's a great guy, great musician. And I tell you what, we'll go ahead and bring John on to the show right now. John, welcome to the Music Mania podcast. We talked to your publicist earlier, and he had told us you only want to talk about Motley Crue during this interview. So hope that's cool, man.
Yes. My publicist, as of the last word of that statement, is officially fired.
Oh no.
No, I'm kidding. Dude, I honestly, it's just been a little frustrated as of, I've done a few interviews in the last week or so where people ask me some question about, my time in Motley or some of the recordings I've done with Mick or, whatever. And it's just like, I'll sit there and talk for 10 or 15 minutes and or some of the interviews I've done are like 30, 40 minutes, whatever. And there's no mention of the Dead Daisies. There's no mention of anything else other than the fact that, and they'll hone in on one sentence, and it's just like they make these big stories out of it and run them on the internet. And I'm like, I kind of got a little, pardon my French, I got a little pissy about things, and I just said, you know what? I'm not going to talk about. Obviously, I can't talk about Motley Crue because they don't talk about the good things that I have to say about the guys or any of that. It's just always focused on like one thing, like the negative, and I'm just tired of it. I'm not that guy.
Well, I mean, that album came out 22 years ago. To me, it's a great album. But to me, I guess I just don't understand why there would be any mudslinging going on from Nikki's end. It just doesn't make sense to me.
And if I can be honest with you, it's funny. Like the last thing that this guy said to me was, it was like a couple days ago, or I don't know, sometime this last week. Somebody asked me. For whatever reasons, they asked me, why Nikki Sixx said, like a month or so back, why Nikki Sixx said he doesn't like the Motley '94 record, and, it's just whatever. And to be honest with you, my statement was very simple. I said, I don't know why. Like, if you want to know why, you need to ask Nikki. I don't know why all of a sudden now, 22 years later, he said what he said. I don't know. I have nothing but admiration and respect for the record that I did with them guys. I even said I wish them the best of luck in all their future endeavors. Tommy, whatever he's doing. I just saw Vince recently, whatever he's doing. Mick. Even Nikki with 6 a.m., I wish you the best of luck. Life is good. I have a tendency to talk a little different, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And my statement was, I have no idea why Nikki said he doesn't like the record, why Nikki said he doesn't think that I can write lyrics, and I also said, basically, Nikki I have no idea why Nikki feels that I'm the biggest piece of shit on earth. And that was me being John from Philadelphia, just,
sure.
generalizing or whatever. And it's just like, I go, and then all of a sudden all over Facebook, it's like, this website Blabbermouth is like, John said that Nikki thinks he's the biggest piece of shit on earth. I'm like, Nikki never said that. Like that, first of all, Nikki never said that. And it was a question that I was asked, and it's like, you know what, guys? I haven't been in the band for 19 years. The record came out 22 years ago. I was in the band for 24 years ago. I joined the band. It's been a long time. Let it go. I'm fine. Nikki's fine. We're all fine. Let it go.
Well, absolutely, John. I mean, the band's retired. It's definitely time to move on from that. And I tell you what, I couldn't be more excited to talk about your latest endeavor, the Dead Daisies. The new album, Make Some Noise. It's getting ready to be released on August 5th. Just got that album sent over to me, and it is absolutely unbelievable. I can't describe it. It is very straight ahead. It is very bluesy. Great album with some great musicians, and I know you guys are getting ready to get out on the road and support this thing. But the official release is August 5th. I know it's not out yet, but what's the reception been like, and kind of what was the process in making this thing?
First of all, we just released Long Way to Go. We did a video for it, and it's a live video from a show that we did in Germany about a month ago. The response has been sick.
Yeah.
It's been unbelievable. When I say sick, I mean sick good. It's been incredible. The fans are all jazzed about it. As far as the process goes and how we, came up with the record, it's really funny how the Daisies work because we're so geographically challenged. Some of the guys live in Australia, some of the guys live in LA, I live in Nashville, so we're all pretty much all over the place. This new record we decided to do in Nashville. Now, obviously, anybody that saw the band last year and are seeing the band this year, obviously they know that there's been a change in the lineup. Dizzy and Richard for obvious reasons, went back to Guns N' Roses.
Oh.
They're doing their huge tour.
Yeah.
We brought in Doug Aldrich. And Doug's been a friend for me for like 30 plus years. Doug and I have known each other since we were teenagers. So it's funny. We literally got together in January with no songs, and we had about a month to put a record together. So we basically got together for about 10 days and wrote, just put ideas together. And then we got into the studio with Marty Fredrickson and hit record, and we just started laying them down, laying the ideas down and developed. We kind of played them live in the studio, but we were developing them as we went, as we were tracking. So
Yeah.
it's pretty impressive. I mean, we like I said, we literally wrote, recorded, mixed, and mastered the entire record from nothing in 5 weeks.
Well, like I said, I've been listening to this album quite a bit over the past couple days. I think it's great. But you talk about, bringing in Doug Aldrich. I mean, the Dead Daisies featuring, Marco Mendoza from Whitesnake, David Lowy, Brian Tichy from Billy Idol. I mean, this is quite a collection of musicians here, all very accomplished. I mean, how did it all come about, with this group of guys?
Well, the band started in 2012 with David Lowy, our guitar player. David is he's definitely the definition of a multitasker. He's an incredibly gifted businessman, but he's an incredibly gifted musician. He's a great songwriter, great guy, and he wanted to put a band together, and he actually started putting the band together initially with a gentleman named John Stevens in Australia as well. David lives in Sydney, and I guess John lived in Sydney as well. And they put the band together. They got together and they wrote a bunch of tunes. And then they just wanted like some great players to go out and tour with.
Yep.
And David was in a band, I can't remember the name of the band at the time, but he was in a band and they were doing like some festival thing. It was like Kiss, Motley, and then Lizzie was playing, or Black Star Riders. Or it might have been Thin Lizzy. Obviously Marco was playing. David's band was also playing on this bill, and he saw Marco, so management and David talked to Marco. And, they recruited Marco, and then I guess they had another drummer that wasn't quite working out. They also got Dizzy Reed, and then Dizzy contacted Brian, so it was just this whole thing. Marco said at that point they already had talked with Richard Fortus was involved, and, so David's really kind of the brainchild of this whole thing. Now, I guess last probably January, I had been out touring with my solo band.
Yep.
Oddly enough, doing the Motley '94 record in its entirety.
That's right. That's right.
It was the 20th anniversary, so I was out touring, and I get a phone call from Marco, and he says, "Hey, we'd love you to come out to LA and meet these guys. We had a singer, it's not working out, whatever, and we'd love for you to come out." So initially I was a little apprehensive because I didn't want to. I mean, I still have my solo thing going, but I was kind of picking up momentum with that. So, after a long chat, I talked with Marco, I talked with management, I went out to LA, I met everybody. Like I said, I already knew Dizzy, Brian, and Marco, but I didn't really know David or Richard. So I went out to meet those two guys, we had dinner, we talked, and then the manager just came to me and said, "Listen, man, would you like to go to Cuba? We're doing a show down there." And I'm like, "Sure." I got to check my schedule, but so they kind of made arrangements, for this Cuban show. I was basically on tour with my band in Canada, and then this show in Toronto was our last show. My guys went home in the bus. I basically got on a plane and I flew to Miami. I met the guys, and then we went to Cuba and we started rehearsing. I had never played a note of music with the guys until we got to Cuba. And we just kind of put a set together. And I think the Cuban thing was those guys, the Dead Daisies, I think it was their way of just kind of feeling me out, seeing what I was like to work with. And then seeing how I handled myself on stage in front of an audience. And once we got that show under our belt, both shows were a huge success. So they said, would you like to go to Australia and do a record? And I said, yeah, sure. So literally a couple weeks after that, I was it was March of last year. And it was the same thing. We had like 35 days or whatever. We went down to Australia. We wrote, recorded, mixed, and mastered Revolution. And then we immediately after that went on tour.
John, in August, your band Dead Daisies will be joining the KISS tour. How big is that for the visibility of your band?
Yeah, I think that the funny thing of it is, and I can kind of see just since, last year, there's definitely been a lot of progression here. Like, I can definitely sense and feel that the band is really starting to pick up quite a bit of steam. The KISS thing is going to be good for us. We know that we want to, we've done very well in Europe. We've played in Australia. All these markets now are starting to take notice of what we've done in Europe and Australia in the last year or so. And now we're getting offers to come to South America. We're going to Japan later this year for the first time to do a festival in Japan. The thing with America is, America's so huge. We felt like this was, KISS extended the offer to us. We felt this was the best way for us to get out in front of really large audiences in direct support of KISS and get out and just play in front of a lot of faces and hopefully leave a mark on everybody. And then kind of set ourselves up so that we can come back, and do, large clubs or theaters or something with another band or whatever, and just do America properly. But it takes time, man. It takes time to build these things, and we're getting there. It's a process, but we're getting there.
So, John, of all the projects that you've done and been a part of, Union, Rat, Motley Crue, Brides of Destruction, what was most satisfying for you?
At the end of the day, man, I just like working. I like being busy. I love music. I kind of feel like I'm very blessed to do what I do. Just being some snot-nosed kid from Philadelphia, I had a million friends in Philadelphia, a bunch of musician friends who were 10 times the musician I was, and somehow I was I was able to elevate myself out of Philadelphia into LA. I was able to elevate myself in LA, and since the Scream, really, I've been blessed with, multiple recording contracts. A bunch of different bands have contacted me over the course of my thing to come and sit in with them or jam with them or be a part of their whatever. And, I just kind of look at it and scratch my head sometimes, and I go, man, this is awesome. I've been doing this for 30 plus years, and the fact that I'm still being called and people still want to talk to me as far as interviews, and the fact that I'm still able to travel all over the world and play music is pretty awesome. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Considering, if you really think about it, how many musicians there are on the planet that want to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And the amount of them that just never get their first shot it's overwhelming. So I gotta kind of go into this, man. Like, I get up every day and I'm like, I got it pretty fucking good. You know what I mean? This is pretty awesome.
Well, John, we just can't thank you enough, for coming on our show, being so candid, being so forthright, and talking to us, man. We appreciate it so much. It's just a huge pleasure for us. And I'll tell you what, Dead Daisies, the album is Make Some Noise. It comes out August 5th. We can't wait to hear it, man. And again, it just means a lot. You come on here, and the last thing we wanted to do was bring you on here and be unprofessional and in the midst of all this Motley Crue stuff and bring it up and try to get a quote from you, just for a headline. You know what I mean? That's the last thing we wanted to do.
It's all good. Like, you can't hold everybody responsible for the actions of one or two people, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Or whatever. So it's just, I just had a moment yesterday or the day before, whatever it was, and I was just like, man, like I just kind of felt like every fucking time I open my mouth, it gets construed or, whatever. So I was like, I'm done. And I went and I had a cigarette and I took a ride in my, I took a little drive in my El Camino and I just blew some steam off and I came back and I'm like, shut up. I'm telling myself, just shut up and suck it up.
Hey.
It's all good.
Well, John, it definitely is all good, and we can't thank you enough for your time. Gonna definitely have to get out there and see the Dead Daisies, even though you guys will not be here on the Kansas City date when we are tapped to see Kiss. Definitely gonna have to get out there and see you guys, hopefully on a headlining tour, man. And I tell you what, we just can't thank you enough for your time. Good luck with everything, and man, it's all good. Hope to see you soon and catch up soon, my man.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, John. Appreciate it.
All right, bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, John Corabi, the most forthright guy, one of the most forthright guys that we've spoke to.
Yeah, huge fan of his, and he got into the Motley stuff. It was something that we had kind of talked off air. When we taped the interview, and I wanted to make sure that it was okay that we brought that to the actual podcast. The Motley Crue stuff. We try to remain as professional as possible when we do this stuff. Not trying to get on here just for a headline, just for website clicks, stuff like that. But John, very forthright, talking about it, and obviously it's something he doesn't want any part of the controversy. He's just like, hey, the record happened. Motley Crue retired. Why are we still talking about that? But I love the album, so that's why I do kind of want to talk about it with him, because I do love the '94 album. It's different. Power to the Music, Poison Apples. Oh my gosh, there were some good songs on that album.
Yeah, and like I said before, it was hard.
Misunderstood is awesome.
Yep, it was hard hitting.
Almost grungy in a way.
Yeah, well,
which
obviously,
makes sense.
Yeah, the time was '94,
right?
But again, I appreciate him actually coming out and actually talking a little bit about the Motley Crue situation, because, like you said, he was adamant at first that he did not want to do it, but he ended up doing it for us, so that was really nice.
Yeah, he was very cool about it, because whenever he called in, I just basically off air told him, hey, we're going to do nothing but Motley Crue stuff, kind of as a joke, and he laughed and thought it was funny, and we talked, and he went on to talk about it and said, yeah, that's no problem. So great stuff with John Corabi. Check out the Dead Daisies. The album comes out August 5th. It's Make Some Noise. Guys, it's a great album. You will not be disappointed. It's a super group. This is a rock super group, a modern day one, and John Corabi's involved. Guys, we can't thank you enough for listening, man. Music Mania podcast, whether you're downloading on iTunes for free or listening on YouTube, we appreciate it all the time. All the subscribes, all the comments, all the social media stuff, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we've got it all. Hit us up there, man. We love to hear from it. We love the feedback. If you got a guest you want us to interview, we will call them. They may not call us back, though.
Well, that's right. But you know what? At least we're getting out there, and we are getting this show out there for you all. So thank you very much for listening. We really appreciate it.